Welcome. My name is Tilly, and we are here today to talk about the new moon in Cancer at 2 degrees. Now, it's June the 23rd and June the 24th. Okay, so June the 23rd for, I think, half the planet, June the 24th for the other half of the planet. So we'll look at both bits of numerology, okay? Now, June is our 6th month of the year. And so that is looking at our nutrition. That is looking at our health. That is looking at ways of improving ourselves, self-improvement in some way. Also our duty to others. Okay. And it's at 2 degrees. So when we're looking at the number 2, we are looking at coming together in relationships, building partnerships, friendships, associations. The 2 is also very wonderful for looking at our material value in our life, what grounds us, what makes us feel secure. The 23rd would be travel. It would be adventure. It would be with the number 23. Okay, that's the King of Wands, and so the King of Wands asks you to look for sage advice from people who have already walked the path of where you want to go, of what you want to create, of what you want to do, of who you want to become. And if we're looking at the 24th, we end up to the 6th again. So it's even highlighted even more about improving ourselves, self-improvement, acts of service, acts of duty, our duty to the world. Who do we have fall out here? We have the Nine of Swords falling out. Now, the Nine of Swords is where we start to dissipate our own energy. Okay, we start to think of the reasons why we can't go forward, the roadblocks that we see standing in our way. Now, many times we are limiting ourselves. It's our perception. So don't allow the negative here. Don't allow the negative in, okay? Our thoughts will go to the most negative, especially when we're trying to sleep at night. And all of a sudden your brain says, hey, let's talk. And we say, sure, let's do it. And all of a sudden we get all these movies in our head and pictures in our head and conversations in our head of what went wrong, how it can even go more wrong. And we start to allow that tiny little splinter in our finger to fester, to become infected. We do not want to dissipate our energy in that way. It is your thoughts. So you have control over your thoughts. So you really need to turn your thoughts from worry, concern, anxiety, fear, stress, and start looking at the beauty that you can step into, of how you can manifest beauty in your world, peace of mind in your world, abundance in your world, how you can create a better you. Okay, this is, I think it has a lot to do with health and fitness. Now, Cancer is the 4th sign, so that is our security, that is our home, that is our family, that is the caring for our environment. Also has to do with unconscious thought. So there's so many times in a day that our mind, we don't even pay attention to it. Let's say you go to the park and you're going to have your lunch in the park, and you sit there and you notice this couple and they're hand in hand, and you can tell that they're in love, they're falling in love, and you start to think about your last relationship. And then you start to think about how it went so terribly wrong. And then you start to think of how you are not deserving of a relationship because you might have done a few things wrong in that relationship, or how you let your guard down and how you were taken advantage of. I can guarantee you by the end of that small little time you spent in the park, you have beaten yourself up, you've thrown yourself under the bus, So when we see things, it sets off thoughts in our mind at all times. Our mind is constantly thinking, constantly regurgitating the things that we see, the things that we hear, and how it fits into our perception of the world. So we have to be very disciplined in our thoughts when this card falls out, because we have to think towards how we better ourselves, how we can improve upon ourselves. So let's say you are, you're shy and you'd like to be more outgoing. People start talking to you at a get-together, and all of a sudden you clam up because you don't know what to say. And so start imagining yourself having that comeback. See if there is some kind of improv course or group that you can get in with, okay? And you don't have to be an actor or anything like that, but it will help you, think on your feet. Come up with those things to say in the spur of the moment. Open yourself up to more conversations, being part of the conversation, and allowing that shyness to finally fall away. And it's not going to be easy. It's where you have to be very disciplined with yourself. You're not going to want to do it, but you recognize the need within yourself to do it. Let's put that card back in. Now we also, so the sun, obviously when we have a new moon, the moon and the sun conjunct at 2 degrees. We also have Mercury in there, so it's a lot about our voice. It's a lot about our communication. And Mars, I don't think Mars is as big in this, even though it is in Cancer, but I think it's at like 12 or 15 degrees. And Mars isn't too happy, so we might actually be feeling like we have stalled out a little bit in our passion, in our ability to go forward. So don't allow that energy to, it's temporary. Mars is moving. Moving forward. Let's see what cards we have here. Look at this, the 8 of Wands. Now when I see this card, I don't think we've had this one in quite some time, but I always think of gentlemen, start your engines. And I don't know why I do, but I do. Gentlemen, start your engines. It's time to get ready to go. Remember that the new moon is all about planting your seeds for tomorrow. What you want to nurture, what you want to grow. What goals are you setting for yourself? Gentlemen, start your engines. It's time to move forward. It's time to do the action to align with your thoughts, your goals. The 2 of Coins, and the 2 of Coins has been pretty popular moving up to this date. So this is about the balance that needs to be in our life. We have the 7 of Swords. 7 of Swords, we want to make sure that we have got everything in place in order to go forward, so that we are strong in our steps. We have the 8 of Swords. Our perceptions need to change. And the Queen of Swords. Nurture. That's a beautiful card for this new moon. To nurture. So let's stop there for a minute. Let's go back to gentlemen, start your engines with the 8 of Wands. This is a time to think about the new things that you can step into. The empowerment that you have within you to go forward. You can do anything you want in life if you are willing to step into it. If you're willing to do. If you're willing to persevere. Make a commitment to yourself. Whether it is health and well-being, whether it is a career, whether it is a love relationship or a friendship, stature in the community, your spirituality. This card is calling you to action. This card is asking you to start doing, to not just talk the talk, but to walk the walk as well. Now we have the 2 of Coins right next to it, which says we're going to probably feel a little imbalanced. We could want to hold on to the past. We may not want to let go of some things in our life in order to open up the space for new beginnings to happen in our life, new adventures to take place in our life. We may be trying to hold and balance something that really has served its purpose in our life, and it's time to move on from it. We have the Seven of Swords right in the middle. Now, the Seven of Swords, we have left this building, and we ended up walking right into a storm because we weren't fully prepared. And we turn around and we come back into the room to grab those swords that remain on the wall, that we didn't really have all the tools when we took off, when we started our path. So this is a card asking us to maybe not jump into actions, although the Eight of Wands is, gentlemen, start your engine. We may want to do an inventory check first. Okay, there's no sense in jumping in your car and turning on the key if you don't have any gas, if you haven't changed the oil in a while, if you don't have 4 tires on the car, if you don't have a steering wheel. You want to make sure that you have everything needed for your journey forward, that you are making the connections, that you have done your research, that you have investigated, that you've played your role, you've done your part. You know what is needed and you are taking it forward. And I think on the 22nd, there was a little bit of a hint of, paying attention to sage advice from other people. Because the 22nd is the King of Wands. Allowing other people to give direction, give wisdom where we may need it. So it may be just, well, we do have the Eight of Swords here, which is our perceptions. Now here, we feel trapped. We have this blindfold on us. We feel that we are tied up. We know we are surrounded by swords. And it really does look pretty dismal for us, doesn't it? But our hands are free. We could rip off that blindfold anytime we chose. And when we do, we realize that we weren't tied up at all. When we do, we realize those swords are behind us and that we could have always gone forward. So it's allowing the perception to change, okay? It's allowing your perception to change. And maybe your perception just needs to change into a more positive perception of the situation. You're in line at the grocery store. And you've got your 10 items, and it's 8 to 10 items for this line. And the buggy in front of you has probably about 25 items. And you see the cashier lean over to that customer and say, could you put up the sign, I'm closing after you? And you look, and the rest of the store, it's lined right up. And you automatically take it as a personal attack to yourself. Do you believe this? They're going to take the person with 25. I'm not even breaking the rules, and I'm getting pushed into a different line. And look at these lines. I'm not going to get out of here for half an hour. Now I'm going to be late for my appointment. It's not fair. It's not right. They're out to get me. And we start these inner, for lack of a better word, pity parties of how the world is moving against us rather than moving us forward. But you might get into another line, and you might get behind somebody who is feeling like a conversation. And they start talking about something, and something that you didn't know about, but something that you're very interested in. And they tell you when the event is and what time you need to be there. And mention my name to Joe, and you'll get a good seat. And all of a sudden, life can change on a dime for you. So when things happen in your life and we perceive it as something that is a roadblock, something that is a mountain that is unsurpassable, we need to understand that we are being pushed into the right line for the right information so that we can go forward, so that we are fully prepared. Queen of Swords is probably the most beautiful part of this reading because this is the mother, okay? And so Cancer is very much about the love the love that we have for the people closest to us in our life. We want to care for them. We want to provide for them. This is also our routines. Now, the Queen of Swords is kind of like the mom in the deck. So when you think about your dreams, when you think about your goals, when you think about your desires, we'd all like the instant. We'd all like to snap our fingers and it just appear in our lives, but that seldomly works. What does work is our constant love for ourselves, for our dreams, for what we can manifest in our life, of the change we can bring to our immediate world or the world at large, through love, through compassion. So not only do we need to love our ambitions, our dreams, our goals, our desires, but this card is saying you have to embrace you. You have to love you, because that's why you're doing it. To bring in the abundance, to bring in the happiness, to bring in the peace of mind, and all of which that you deserve. Let's grab our angels here. So for this new moon, I mean, we have gentlemen start our engines, so we want to start putting action where we have just had thought. We've had a lot of time to think things through. And now we need to start taking those even baby steps and trying to move forward as slow as you want or as fast as you want. I think slower is better right now, because we do have the Seven of Swords in the middle, telling us that once we start upon our path, we're probably going to figure out that we might not have investigated something as well as we should have, or there's something that we still need. Maybe it is more knowledge, maybe it's just honing a skill. Maybe it's certain people or partnerships or associations that are needed in our life. Two of Coins also, I mean, that could be our routines. That could be where we have allowed ourselves, you know, where we wake up in the morning and we do the same thing every day for the first half hour, the first hour. We're kind of robotic. We don't really think about it. You know, even like brushing your teeth, you're going to probably start in the same place. You're going to start on the one side on your molars and work, and then move to the front, and then it's always the same routine. Or when you shower and you get out of the shower, you're going to dry your hair first, and then you're going to wipe down each arm, pat your face, take the towel across your back, do each leg, step out. You know, and we do it, even the things that we think that we have control over, we are really following the subconscious script. And it may not be the best script. So we may want to look at changing our routine. We may want to look at changing what we do when we wake up in the morning. When we wake up in the morning, you know, the worst thing you can do is turn on the news, read a newspaper, because it's going to automatically invite negative into your world. And you're going to start your day on a negative note rather than a positive note. It's better to do an affirmation. It's better to say your mission statement out loud. It is better to have a small prayer time or a small time of reflection where you are going to think of the possibility of the day, to be maybe grateful for. Thank you. How many times have you jumped out of bed and said, thank you for today? Today is going to be unique, one of a kind. I'll never experience these moments again. I'm going to make each moment count today. I'm going to have fun. I'm going to allow abundance to come to me. I'm going to allow love to come into my life. I am going to feel healthy today. I'm going to attach myself to my wisdom today, my intuition today. I can't wait to start my day. When's the last time? So it could be looking at our routines and changing our routines, which also gives our entire day a whole different perspective. We have the page of Gabriel. Follow your passion. You are ready for any challenge. Opportunities for excitement and adventure. And with any new moon, it's time to step into new challenges, new beginnings, new starts. Follow your passions. As the Queen of Swords so eloquently always says, Follow your passions, your dreams. You are deserving. You do have the talent. You do have the ability. Do you have the determination? We have the Eight of Michael. You can be free. Make a courageous choice to change your situation, not seeing things clearly. And that's really the Eight of Swords, not seeing things clearly. We need to rip off the blindfold. We need to take off the blinders. You can be free, or feel that freedom, or feel that liberation. Make a courageous choice to change your situation. Both of these cards talk about courage, the courage that we need to attach to. Yes, fear will hold us back. So it's moving past that fear. It's taking that deep breath and maybe moving forward on a faith. Because once you move past that fear, you don't have that fear again. You've overcome the fear. And you realize that you probably didn't have much to be fearful of at the end of the day. That it was all in your perceptions of what might happen, of what could happen, of how people may perceive. Oh, look at this, divine guidance, and it is the 5, so that's one of our numbers. The search for meaning in life, consider an alternative approach. Surround yourself with wise teachers or friends. So there's that, wise teachers, friends, mentors, to gain wisdom, to gain understanding. Divine guidance. Talk to God, your angels, your spirit guides, source, the universe. Tap into your intuition. Tap into your higher wisdom. Sit in a few moments of reflection to allow that guidance to come in, to allow that small voice to enter your mind. Consider an alternative approach. You know, when we get up to that wall and we push and we push and we push and we get nowhere, sometimes we do need to back it up a couple of steps. And that's when we realized there was a door there the whole time. But we were too close to the situation to see that door. And so sometimes we need to back it up. Maybe sometimes we need to talk it over with a confidant or a mentor in order to understand a different viewpoint, a different way of seeing. The Ace of Gabriel, a gift of passion, opportunity, and inspiration, the chance to do something amazing, a sense of wonder. And I think with new moons, we can very easily step into that sense of wonder, that new beginning, that new start, a chance to do something amazing. You do have that chance to do something amazing in your life. Recognize it. Move past your fear, through your fear. A gift of passion, opportunity, and inspiration. Aces are new beginnings. And the moon. The opportunity to improve your plans, listen to your intuition for accurate guidance, face your fears, and grow stronger. Can't make this stuff up. Face your fears and grow stronger. Don't back away from the situation just because you've never tried it before, just because you're not sure of how to carry yourself or do that action or have that conversation. You're not going to know unless you try. And our fear holds us back, and the fear is usually just the unknown. And once we know it, there is no fear. Believe in yourself. Tap into that intuition. Tap into that wisdom. You've already got what it takes inside of you. And let's grab a journey of love card, because it is a new moon and there's so much about love, really. You know, the sun and the moon are in Cancer, which is the love, the compassion, the caring that we want to share with others through partnerships, relationships, associations. The moon is all about our internal feelings, our passions, our joys, our fears, our love. Love for ourselves, love for others. Heaven, 70. Where's our book? What is the final card of the deck? 70. The sky ablaze with morning light on silver wings of birds in flight. In gratitude, a tear released, a knowingness embraced at peace. She speaks to those that gaze below, ancestral wings which call my soul to open hearts and soar above. In awe the winds await this love. You are meant to live in heaven, now, not later. Not later, sometime after you die. What use is this life and body if not to live heaven now? Look for the mad, divine genius in all that is, especially the puzzling parts of your life that make you scratch your head, or tear your hair, or scrunch up your face and scream with frustration. Those are the places in which the divine is saying, here, heaven is hiding. Let's unveil it together. Let me show you. Let me unveil your own mad divine genius right here. Look for heaven, even in hiding. It will not withhold itself from you for long, beloved. It wants to be known by you. This oracle brings a special message. The enlightener is calling you to more, to more, to more. More divinity, more love, more acceptance, more embrace of life itself. There is no limit in what is being offered to you from the divine lover, calling to you, the beloved. Rejoice, and know that the dance of love between you and the divine is a removing of veils of illusion, one at a time, until you behold each other, naked and true, finally to discover that you are each other, and you are love. So I think, with that being said, this new moon gives you a chance to maybe change up your routines. Maybe start moving past a fear, past a limitation. To start realizing where you have been tricked by an illusion in your life of how you couldn't go forward, of how you were stuck. Move you past a stress or chaos in your life. And it's time for you to realize that you can create a heaven here on earth each and every day for yourself. Through love, through a clarity, through a courage, and through a beauty, your own divine beauty. So enjoy this new moon. Absolutely. Look for partnerships. Look for relationships and growing them stronger and deeper, and how you can care for another. Remember, it is a little bit about our sense of duty. A lot to do with our sense of compassion, especially for ourselves and our dreams moving forward. The new moon in Cancer is allowing us to look at where we have set up limitations for ourselves in our thoughts, in our actions, in our routines, and breaking free of that. Remember, we started with gentlemen, start your engines. So if you're looking to step into a new relationship, start a new health regime for yourself, step into a career, start that business, grow your stature in the community, this is a time when all is possible. Until we meet again, remember, I do love you.